like it. So recap of the week. Obviously, we had Seattle at home last week, I should say last Tuesday. Didn't quite go the way we were hoping or anticipating, but it was a good hit out for the team. Good to get it in front of our home fans and get going. And then the weekend off was really productive. Cole and I both got out recruiting, which was pretty great. I don't often get to do that mid-season. And the team was able to get out and support football and yet another fantastic event in Bobcat Stadium. I got to listen to that on the radio as I drove through South Dakota on Saturday, and what a fantastic event that was. So really excited for the team to be able to get out and do that, because again, that's not a common occurrence for us to be able to get out and support football that way. And then I don't know, apparently we're headed on the bus somewhere this afternoon to do something pretty special tomorrow. So I don't know if you guys have got any questions about that. But no, obviously Cat Grizz tomorrow over in Missoula, and we'll get to go over in there. And what I think we're up to like 113th episode of Cat Grizz. 114th episode of, yeah, 57, 56. We got them by 1, so I want to be up by 2 when we come back on Wednesday, okay? 57 to 56. I mean, and what an incredible thing that is. You think about it over the years. To be 57 and 56 after 113 contests, that's a competitive environment. So we're excited to head over to Missoula and take on that crowd over there and see what we can do.
You could just critique Montana and what you see out of them right now.
Yeah, so they've got some really nice freshmen have come in. They've got a really nice freshman outside. You got Elsa Godwin on the outside as well, who's a former Montana Gatorade State Player of the Year, so she can handle herself pretty comfortably. You've got some experience in one middle. The other middle is a freshman, and she does some pretty nice things. We watched her in her club career, and she does a really good thing. You got Ashley Watkins came back in this weekend as a setter. I think she's had some shoulder issues that she's working her way through, and she certainly makes a big difference to them as a program. So they picked up their first win on the weekend against Air Force. Watched that match in detail, as we tend to do. It's definitely the best match I've seen them play this year. And I know, Allison is going to have them fizzing for this contest. There's no doubt.
We went to 5 sets last year in Missoula. What is it going to be like going into that atmosphere for you guys?
Yeah, it's the same every year. It's basically, you imagine a bobcat fighting a grizzly bear. This is what it's going to be like. It's a fight. There's no doubt about it. We know that regardless of records or whatever coming in, it's always one of the toughest matches we'll play in the year. You go over there, it's a hostile environment, and they're always up for it. There's no doubt, and it's our job to be up for it as well and go out and play the best that we can in those moments.
Coach, speaking of 5 sets against Seattle, you guys pushed it to a 5th set, but some of the things, in the first and second set, you guys might be up by 6, and then, Seattle come back, take the lead. What are some of the things that you are implementing in practice to kind of prevent that from happening?
The runs,
to
yeah.
Get out on top and stay on top.
Yeah, the runs are challenging. I think, we've got youth and we've got experience, and when you've got youth and experience that clash, it takes a little bit of time to mold them. You've got people like Rizzo, who's currently number 3 in the country for digs per set. I mean, the entire Division I volleyball, 327 programs, and she's number 3 in the country, and she's leading in that way. And then you've got, everybody else is finding their roles, and you got Evie Wilson playing a different role this year. Kelsey White is the only one. Rizzo and Kelsey White are the only ones who are playing consistently, who have the same roles that they've had in previous years. So I think what you're seeing is that production from Rizzo and from Kelsey, and then everyone else is finding their way, and there's going to be ups and downs in that. And as they mold as a group, you've got to, we've got to be patient, and we've got to have that mindset that, hey, we're here to learn, we're here to grow, and we don't stop learning and growing until we're done. And so, yeah, it's a struggle to give up stretches of points, there's no doubt, but we're working at it, as we always are.
One of the things that, Seattle's was pretty used to pushing it to a 5th set and taking the 5th set. Do you think that's something that you guys as a team are used to, at least going to 5?
Yeah, I mean, we've played 3 5-set matches out of, what have we played, 9 matches now. So, we're a third of our matches have been 5-setters. You know, and part of it's mentality. You know, you get to those positions, you put yourself in a great position to compete, and you know, you got to get across the line though. And so we put our team under pressure in practice with different drills that we do, where they have to score so many points. We played a great game the other day where they didn't even know what the score was, but they had to try and beat the other team to 15. You know, and we rolled some dice to see what score you'd be starting at. And at one time it was 11-3, and the team that got 3 came back and won it. So it's putting them under pressure in situations like that where, you know, they have to respond regardless of what they think is happening. They just have to get out there and play the game.
What is your approach in terms of heading into Packers, talking about the rivalry, or just treating it like one game? How do you approach it?
Yeah, I think, you know, the classic cliche, it's just another game, right? I think that is real. It is just another game of volleyball. I mean, the court dimensions are the same, the net's the same, the ball's the same. There's 6 people on either side of the net. I think, though, you've got to face the reality that the history of this rivalry, the intensity of this rivalry is real. So we talk about that, but I talk about it from a standpoint of how lucky are we to get to do this? What a perspective it is to have the privilege to get out and play in one of the most storied rivalries in all of NCAA collegiate athletics. You know, what a privilege it is to represent all of our alumni who are all going to be tuned in watching, and just fired up to see us go another round with the Grizz. And no one in the conference has this. I think we don't stress that enough. I mean, you know, maybe Idaho State have something going on, but they've been in and out of each other's lives so much. I just don't think they have the consistency that we have. You know, the comparison I make is when I was at Utah, it was BYU Utah. You know, and they call that the Holy War. But again, it just doesn't have the same feel of what Cat Grizz does. It's just an increased sense of I don't know what the right word is, but there's an increased sense of something there, that intensity for sure. So I think if you don't acknowledge that intensity, if you don't acknowledge the history, then I think you're missing something, and you're missing how special this is for this group of student athletes to go out there and compete in this historic rivalry.
Coach, Emma Pence just seems to kind of be off the charts. I spoke with her last week, and you know, talking about how she's a freshman, but you know, not on the court, and,
Yeah.
and her teammates also see it like that, especially the seniors. You know, she said that they don't treat her like she's a freshman.
No,
And,
she doesn't get treated like a freshman at all.
And so just kind of talk about her role in really boosting the team's confidence, especially when she gets subbed in and can really make those blocks for points.
Yeah, look, I made the comment a couple of weeks back, I remember, about Emma and Kira's similar, that they've both come out of club and high school programs where they've been pushed really hard. And so they're used to getting pushed hard, and they're used to, you know, raising up to expectations. And so walking into the collegiate environment has actually been probably one of the smoothest transitions for Emma that I've seen. And I'd put Kira in that same boat, in the sense of they're coming and like, yeah, what's next? You know, okay, I got it. What's next? What else do you want me to do? And that, they never look overwhelmed. They never look, you know, like they don't belong. They just do belong because they know they belong. They've had the goal of being a Division I athlete their whole life, and here they are living it. And they're like, okay, I'm going to make the most of it. So, yeah, I couldn't be more proud of Emma and Kira both. And I think what you see in the practice gym right now is pretty special as well, with the 3 freshmen that we have. With, if you throw Jordan in the mix, where Jordan's really getting that same mentality now, it's pretty fun to watch. Watching Jordan block Emma is pretty interesting, because you got 2 big kids going at it, and it's a lot of fun to see them compete in that way.
What do you think this conference race is going to be like? Now as you just jump into it?
Oh man, the conference is wide open. I think you got NAU as the front runners. You know, I think defending champions, they had a really good showing for themselves in the first round of the NCAA tournament. They lose a couple of key pieces, but Ken does a phenomenal job down there. And then I think, you know, along with them, you got Weber State. I think, you know, Coach Larson, Jeremiah down there at Weber State has just done a really good job at building that team in a sustainable fashion. You know, and Jeremiah and I are actually very good friends. This story is not very well known, but he actually asked me to be his assistant at the same time that JJ asked me to come up here and be the assistant up here, and it was one or the other for me, and I never regret my decision, but I've always kept close tabs on that Weber State program. And so I think they're the 2 front runners. I think after that, we're right in the mix, 3rd, 4th, right around there. You know, I think statistically right now, we're 3rd or 4th in most categories. across the conference, and I think that's a good reflection of where we sit as of today. I think tomorrow we'll get a clearer picture of where we sit in conference, and then Saturday when we go to UNC, we'll get an even clearer picture. But I think, you got your front runners, you got NAU, you got Weber State. I think, your Idaho States, your Northern Colorados, your Idahos are always going to be there or thereabouts. But it's going to be a dogfight. I think more than any other year that I've been here, there's a lack of clarity about who's going to be on top, which is it's pretty fun from my perspective because we're ready to take a jump.